Blessed Rise family, this is Fashayo of earthmotherguidance.com. Okay, so yeah, my septum ring is drunk. So I woke up this morning with this on my mind. I wanted to talk about it because I already have a self-awareness video, and I think in that video I talked about our self-awareness as people, just kind of in general, how there's a period in our early lives when we don't realize that we are separate from our parents. And usually, I don't know, but some people can remember the time when they suddenly felt free. Honestly, mine didn't happen too much later. Actually, not too long ago. Because up until maybe 6 months ago, I still was more concerned with my mama's opinion than she required or, that was necessary. So I think my self-awareness is just happening. Late bloomer much? Yes. So this morning what I want to talk about, though, is our self-awareness in regards to spirituality. Now, I will say this. For me, spirituality and religion are different. If you are a part of a system where you have to submit, and I know you'll say, well, I don't have to, but if you're expected to fully submit to another human being, if you're expected to go to them for your spiritual practice, then you're part of a religion. I can speak on Ifa. If you are not able to do the work on your own, if you don't have your own pots, if you are not able to work said pots, if you don't know how to contact God, deities, Orisha, if you're not able to do that on your own, then yeah, you're practicing religion, which is fine. Spirituality for me, and my definition, has been what I've come into. I'll say it like that. Spirituality for me has been an awakening that I am actually the deity, that I am the embodiment of the goddess, which is interesting because it made those scriptures come to life when it talked about our body being a temple of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, it actually is, which was cool. It was interesting that it never made sense in church, but it makes sense now. And that has given me a different level of personal power that I'm learning how to work with now. And I don't give my power over to anybody anymore. So the thing that I wanted to talk about is how we hand over our power, how we have become self-aware in regards to our parents, but now we lose our self-awareness again to religious leaders. And I'll probably be speaking more about Ifa because those are the people that I'm around most, and that was a tradition. That's a tradition that if I practice anything, that's a tradition that I practice. And I would say, let me give y'all a definition. So self-awareness is a noun, and it means conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desire. And I also add that, it's a self-empowering thing. So I guess that's why I feel that once I understood that, yeah, indeed, I am the goddess. I am the deity. Not necessarily one in particular. Like, I don't walk around telling people I am Oshun. No. But I am wielding a whole ton of power that I'm just realizing that I, coming into the realization of that. And like I said, we'll use this as an example. When my godmother would tell you, if you ever found out who she was, but she would tell you that she didn't want to be anybody's godmother, but I knew who I was supposed to learn under. I didn't know why I was supposed to learn from her, but I knew who I was supposed to learn from. I found later that I was supposed to learn from her because she values freedom above all else. And she was the one who held my hand and walked me into freedom. Her desire was never to control. Her desire was never to... She didn't want my submissions. You know, she didn't want the tradition is that you bow, you know, to Iya Nifa and Babalawo, and you know the other rankings. It depends on, you know, the tradition, I guess, but and so I would do so gladly. I mean, I was happy, you know, and she would just be like, "Oh my God, can you stop?" And I had a history with Ifa before her, so you know I had picked up very submissive ways of doing things from this Babalawo that I had learned under. And she was just like, "Okay, you greeted me, great," you know. But it was like before you can get down there good, she's already pulling you up, and you know. So we have an interesting relationship, because in a lot of ways we're more like sisters now. Everybody doesn't have that, and I realize that. And poor you, I feel bad for you. But so from her, I learned more of a spirituality, because she taught me a way of doing things, but she always led us back to saying, what is your Ori, or what is your divine inner self, or what does your destiny tell you that you need to do? You know, instead of, basically she was saying, okay, instead of asking me all the time, what does your head say? And in a lot of ways, you're saying, what does your spirit say logically? How do you think you should handle this? A lot of us are trapped in situations where we have given over our power to somebody else. And I just heard very clearly, some people don't feel like they're trapped. Some people don't want to be accountable for what their situations are. So instead of being accountable for what our situations are, we instead want to hand it all over to somebody else. So when it doesn't go the way it should, then we can say, well, they didn't do this, or they did this work and the work didn't happen. It didn't work. The work didn't work. Because if you are doing the work yourself, you don't have anybody else to blame. It's no different than me coaching. You give me what you want to do. I give you a way to do it. If it doesn't work, you come back to me and I say, okay, we need to figure this out. But in the meanwhile, my thing is, okay, but it's your life and it's you who's doing it. So really, I'm just guiding you. I have no desire to like take over your life and orchestrate it for you. But I found that a lot of people, that's what they want me to do, because in our minds somehow, maybe it's because we're not accustomed to having our own power, I'm not sure, but people are very willing to give over their whole lives to you. And it's like I woke up this morning and just thought about how dangerous that is. And then we raise our kids to do the same thing. We want our children to be fully submitted to us. Some of us will bully our kids into it. Some of us will beat them into submission. Some of us will just intimidate them. Some of us will make them feel inadequate, like they can't do it. You know, you can't live without me. And we've even had boyfriends and girlfriends, I'm sure, that have said, you know, you can't do this without me. Like, you know, as in, we are made by them. They're our creators, you know, of a particular time in our lives. I know I have had that, and I have been that. I have been the one who wanted to control. I have been that person, you know, bully people a lot of times become bullies. But the thing that I would like to offer this morning is, let's try to find a lovely balance between logic or practicality and spirituality. So many of us have gotten so spiritual that we don't want to actually use our brains anymore. We don't want to look at our leaders with a logical mind. For me, anybody that's trying to control me, anybody who only gives me pieces and parts and bits of information, it makes me now take a second look at them. Anytime we're part of this thing. We're supposed to be part of this thing together. But you want to hold back something from me? Yeah, that's a way of exerting control. And I recognize it quickly because I've been there most of my life. Only recently, and I say in the past 6 months to a year, have I started to reject that. Have I started to set it fully ablaze? Because I'm not having it. I won't be controlled. And I tell people all the time, I won't submit. By submit, I mean this blind submission that people, because everybody takes the word submission, like, especially if they live this lifestyle where they're submitting to somebody and they try to validate it. Most people, though, have an understanding of submission being a blind submission means, that I'm going to just do what you say because of who you are. For me, that's no, it's not going to happen. I won't do it just because of some status you have, whether in a religious community or in my life. I won't, because this is my destiny. And as I learned from my beautiful godmother, my destiny is of the highest importance to me. It doesn't mean that I don't value your destiny, because I do. But mine is of the highest importance to me. Why? Because I come into this life by myself. That's the truth of it. And I leave here by myself. That's the truth of it. I have to learn the lessons that I have to learn for this lifetime. I have to get those lessons. You have your own set of lessons to concern yourself with. It does not mean that they won't cross paths, but like, for instance, my godmother can't learn my lessons for me. She can't live my life for me. Even when, if she's doing, let's say, some kind of reading, if it does not connect well with my spirit, or connect, and I'm not talking about when you just don't want to deal with a situation. I'm saying when something, anytime, because a lot of us get readings and stuff. So anytime somebody, I don't care who it is, does some spirit work for you, and that thing don't connect with you, you need to reject it and let it go. At the very least, put it on the back burner. But it's kind of like what we do is we take it in anyway because of who this person is. And I want y'all to hear me good. I love my godmother, but she expects, as a person, as my sister, as the beautiful, rebellious, hell-raising soul that she is, she expects that I reject anything that does not sit well with my Ori, that does not sit well with my destiny. Those are the kind of people that practice spirituality. And when she tells me those things, she's not saying it with that tinge of guilt that people want you to have. Like, I mean, well, go on and do it your own way if you want to. I'm just here to try to tell you, try to help you. But, if you ain't you don't want to do what spirit say do, then, they speaking with a forked tongue when people do stuff like that, because they not releasing you in love. They're not releasing you in freedom. That's not what they doing. They releasing you with one hand and they holding you with the other. This one is fake freedom. This one is real guilt. And a lot of people do that, and a lot of us don't want to talk about these things because we're not supposed to talk about our own stuff. We're not supposed to talk about our own dirt. But it's like we have to become more self-aware. We have to become more free. We have to get to know, for instance, okay, what your feelings are. When you feel something, it's real. It's a very patriarchal, misogynistic, woman-hating, person-hating thing. To not acknowledge your feelings. When somebody tells you, when you feel a certain way, especially if it's a really strong feeling, and people tell you, oh, that's just because just because wherever your life is at the time. Girl, you don't really feel like that. It's just because of that situation you in. That's why you feel like that. No, my feelings are real. And yeah, the situation I'm in may color it, but the situation is real. Thus, my emotions are real. Thus, they require that you acknowledge them. I require that you acknowledge me. We don't sweep how we feel under a rug. We don't just, because it doesn't make other people comfortable. So we just, it's okay. Don't worry about that. We got to stop doing that, because I'm working on my, like, more naturally, well, not working on it, I guess, reconnecting with my natural intuition. It was always so strong, but I let people sweep it. I let people dictate it to me. I let people tell me what my dreams meant. I let people tell me, wow, that feeling wasn't real. I let people do that to me. And that's where some of my self-awareness went, because I didn't want to acknowledge those feelings that come up. Sometimes they might be really vague. Sometimes they might be connected to an emotion. Sometimes you have an emotion that is very earthbound. If I hate my marriage, which I don't, but if I did, that's something that's very this realm. And people will say, oh, it's just because y'all don't have as much money as you want. No, sometimes people are just unhappy. If you living in a situation, because I was in a bad living situation, and people would try to color my emotions based on the fact only of my living situation. No, sometimes I had feelings that were not any way connected to my situation, and sometimes I did. But the thing was, I did not render those emotions and feelings invalid. Character. Oh, this is a big one with Ifa. Your character. If your stuff jacked up, the first thing they're gonna ask you is, what is your character like? How's your character? And well, you know what? I don't know if it's big in Ifa. I know it's supposed to be, but I don't know if a lot of people actually utilize this as much as they should. If you getting spiritual work done and your stuff fizzles out, if you don't get exactly what Spirit Orisha tell you, especially in a reading that you're supposed to have, then somebody character jacked. It's that simple. If you know for a fact, when you got that reading, when you got that word from Orisha, when you got whatever it is and it didn't pan out, somebody's character is jacked. That's gonna be the first thing that anybody of integrity is gonna ask you, and that should be the first thing that you ask. If somebody do some work for you and it don't pan out, that need to be the first thing that you ask. You need to check your own character, and then if your character good, if you're being real with yourself and your character is good, then you need to ask them, okay, and I don't care who it is, Babalawo or Yanifa, do you have anything going on with your character? Because if your work is a dud, somebody's character is messed up. You can always also read character as their energy is messed up. So don't be scared, because we talking about self-awareness, because we talking about you living out your destiny. We talking about you not having to do this all over again and learn these lessons all over again. Motives. What are your motives? Being self-aware. A lot of times, especially in the spiritual conscious community, our motives are supposed to be solely based on healing work and love, and that's what we're supposed to be concerned with. And yes, I'm concerned with your healing. I'm concerned with love above all else, because love does everything. Love fixes all of it. You can tell I get excited about it, I guess, but love fixes everything. But I have to eat. I have bills to pay. Yeah, I do. And so some of my motive is money. Plus, being a daughter of Oshun, my motive is money. I like money. I like gifts. I like nice stuff. Yeah, I'm totally willing to barter. But I found that in the spiritual community, a lot of us, especially if God forbid you're friends with somebody, all your stuff is supposed to be free. The people who take up most of your time are the ones who want to pay you the least. And so I had to figure out what my motives were, and I had to be okay with the fact that my motives are balanced. Yes, I love you deeply and passionately. Yes, I want to save the entire world. Yes, I want to do so with love. However, I still live in a world and in a time and in a space that requires funds. Especially if you're wanting something that requires that I buy stuff. Like, for instance, okay, this is within arm's reach. So, this is one of the pictures that I did. It's got writing and stuff on the back. So, that's one of the things I did, right? Well, people want it, but they want me to give it to them. Just hand it to them. Just hand it to them. You know, and I have an inbox, you know, that's like, you know, oh, well, sister, that's so, you know, and they'll compliment me. Ooh, and you know I like compliments. You know, compliment me to no end. And then want me to just give them something. That costs money. I had to go buy the canvas. Well, you know, because this is how we have to look at business. So you spent the gas money. You spent your time looking for the right materials. You had to buy the paint. You have to buy the stuff that you coat the thing with to try to, you know, make sure it is preserved. You have to do all this stuff. So you had the time traveling to go get the stuff. You have the time actually creating it. You have to do all this stuff. And for me, I work with feeling. Like, I get into these moods where I paint and create and do all this stuff, and then it's like, it is gone, and I might not create, you know, outwardly, you know, things that, you know, tangible things. But in the spiritual community, we expect that we'll just give, which would be great if everybody gave equally, but that's not what we do. And what made me realize and embrace and be okay with the fact that money is one of my motivators and not have any more guilt behind it, is that I have so many people right now that owe me money that, well, if you just do this session with me, then I send it to you when I have it. I'm going to send it to you in a week. I'm going to send it to you in 2 weeks. I'm a, whatever. And I'm trying to figure out how to put gas in my car. But I did the work. I did the reading. I did the coaching session. I did the self-love coaching session. I did the artwork you asked for. And that's why I stopped taking requests for artwork. I did all the stuff you asked me to do. And I did it because I love you. But then you ain't love me enough to give my money. You didn't respect me enough to give my money. So I had to embrace money is one of my motivating factors. I like having my money in my pocket. I had to release the guilt of requiring, not asking for, because that's another thing. I'm not going to ask for my money. You know, yeah, give my money. That's you. We're exchanging. It has to, I told y'all, Kameen, what's his face? Comedic Yogi. The thing he said that literally changed my life is that it has to be an exchange. And one thing I would add to that is that it needs to be an equal exchange where everybody is happy. Because we can do barter. But like I've told people in the past, you have to barter something with me that I actually want. A lot of people feel guilted because they don't understand the bartering system. You have something I want. I have something you want. We exchange those things for equal whatever the monetary value is. But it does not mean that I just have to barter with you whatever you want. I have bartered people for my hair services in the past. But I don't want a Billy Blanks. Ain't that the man? I think his name Billy Blanks, the Kung Fu looking workout thing. I don't want that. I don't care how much it costs. I don't want that. That's not, That's not something I'm interested in. So I'll give you an opportunity to find something else. I don't wear a lot of jewelry. So I don't want to barter jewelry. So I don't. So one of my motivators, I have finally come to embrace and do so without guilt. So I'm releasing that guilt. If I have not verbally said it, I am saying it. I release that guilt of money being one of my motivating factors. It is. And desire. What are your desires? What is it that you actually really want? This is what I'm still working on. Because I thought that desires had to be something that were kind of earthbound and practical. But a lot of my desires aren't. One big desire that I've had for a while that I'm working towards is that I want to be an elder of substance. I always see myself being an old lady, sitting in a big old wicker chair. Not them peacock feather chairs, but just people that know me, I just like wicker. So this big old, wicker chair with these fluffy cushions on it, and speaking to this audience of women and being able to unload, or I guess download, all the knowledge and wisdoms that I've acquired this lifetime. And I want to be able to do it in such a way that it changes lives. And that's why I go through the stuff I go through. And I try to really I don't even try. I'm really in it. I roll into my emotions. I feel whatever experiences I'm in with all my senses. Because I want to be free. I want to live, and I want to be able to pass that on to other women. That's one of my desires. Another immediate desire that I have right now is to be able to live a livable minimalist lifestyle, because I think that the clutter of my house, for instance, in my opinion, is clutter. I feel like it reflects the clutter that's in my head a lot of times. But I'm still exploring what my desires are. I have desires ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be able to go topless. I remember when I was little, I used to be angry about the fact that I had to wear a shirt and boys didn't. I was just as hot outside as they were, and I wanted to be able to not have to wear a shirt. And I used to actually have this dream where I was walking into a saloon. I don't know why I was walking to a saloon, but I'll go through the doors, those doors that you just kind of push open, and I didn't have a shirt on. And I remember being in front of all these, I never saw their faces, but it was a masculine scene, because I was in a saloon. And I remember it being kind of cowboyish. And I just remember feeling really liberated by not having to wear a shirt. So all that to say, sometimes we have childhood desires, things that never felt quite right to us having to do or being forced to do when we were kids. And so you still carry those desires as adults. And then there's sometimes we form new desires, but being self-aware means that you're able to fully explore those desires, that you're able to fully do so without seeking the input of others, without having to look and say, well, what do you feel about my desire? No, this is my desire. This is something I want to do. And another thing that's really important about that is no take backs. No take backs. I'm not taking it back. This is what I want to do. Not settling. You might have to put it off for a minute, but not settling. I got a desire fulfilled for my birthday. I had the best birthday ever. I'm still talking about it, and it was June 21st was my birthday, and I'm still talking about it, and I'll probably keep talking about it. But I wanted to be able to combine camping and the beach. And like I say, my sister got together, my friend got together, sister friend, got together with my husband and my kids and made it happen. And it was epic. Oh my God. To have a desire come to fruition, to have it go from your mind out into the world, it's amazing. So that's self-awareness for me. Self-awareness, like everything else, is a form of love and freedom. It basically means that you're able to express who you are, who you came here to be, why you chose this body, this lifetime to express yourself in. Why did you choose the path that you chose this lifetime? Why did you choose the circumstances that you were born into? If you look at it, a lot of your need to be self-aware is going to be connected to those things. A lot of the lessons that you learn on becoming self-aware will be connected to those things, to the almost unconscious choices that we made come into this realm. But it's just who you are as an individual. It is almost impossible to be part of a community, even fully part of a family, part of a spiritual family, if you are not first self-aware. And I hear so many people talking about how we're gods and goddesses and these, whatever entity, spiritual entity you identify as, but you don't know who you are separately. You don't know who you are separate from your mate. And I'm all for, y'all being together, and I love being up under my husband and all that good stuff, but sometimes I don't want to be. Sometimes I want my own space. And him being mostly an introvert, he loved having his own space. But it's okay, because I am becoming more self-aware and less dependent. And he, watching his self-awareness unfold has been beautiful. Now, you want to talk about divinity? Watch somebody, if you ever get a chance to watch somebody's self-awareness unfold, watch your kids. If you give them space, because they're going to become self-aware whether you like it or not, but if you want to watch it happen beautifully, give them space to become self-aware. It is like watching the fact that you birthed divinity all over again. Amazing. So anyway, I know I went off on like 20 tangents, but I just had to do this video. I had to get it up and out because I literally woke up thinking about it this morning. So thank y'all so much for watching. Again, this is Fashayo, the Earth Mother. Thank y'all for watching. Peace, love, abundance, bliss, freedom, and self-awareness. Odabo.